Have you ever wondered why some people seem unstoppable, calm under pressure, confident in their choices, and always moving forward, while others stay stuck in cycles of doubt, stress, and procrastination? The difference isn't luck, it isn't talent, it's habits. Our minds are powerful engines, but like any engine, they need the right fuel. Most of us don't realize that our daily thoughts, routines, and even the smallest choices shape the way our brains are wired. Imagine waking up every morning with focus instead of stress, energy instead of hesitation, and purpose instead of confusion. What if you could train your mind to naturally seek out growth, positivity, and resilience? The truth is, your life doesn't change in giant leaps. It changes in small, consistent steps. One positive habit practiced daily has the power to shift your mindset. 10 positive habits practiced with intention can completely rewire your mind. This audiobook isn't about quick fixes or empty motivation. It's about transformation. It's about teaching your mind to work for you, not against you. Think about it. What would your life look like if your inner critic became your inner coach? What if you had the discipline to rise above distractions, the clarity to make bold decisions, and the energy to chase your dreams without burning out? That's the power of rewiring your mind through positive habits. In the next chapters, we'll explore 10 life-changing habits that will not only reshape how you think, but how you live. They're simple, they're practical, and they're within your control. By the end, you'll see that greatness isn't about who you are today, it's about who you decide to become. So, are you ready to rewire your mind? Let's begin. It's easy to underestimate the power of small habits because they don't feel significant in the moment. Drinking a glass of water when you wake up, writing down one thing you're grateful for, reading a page of a book, or taking 5 minutes to stretch may not look like much, but these tiny actions create ripples that shape the course of your life. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens when the small choices you make daily begin to accumulate, slowly rewiring your mind to operate from a place of discipline, clarity, and purpose. Think of it like planting seeds. One seed doesn't look like a forest, but when nurtured consistently, it grows into something unstoppable. Every great success story is built on small daily decisions. The athlete who wins medals doesn't start with winning. He starts by showing up to train when no one is watching. The entrepreneur who builds a thriving business doesn't begin with millions. She begins with a single idea, a single call, a single step forward. These seemingly ordinary habits compound over time, creating extraordinary results. Your brain learns through repetition, and every small action reinforces the identity you are building. If you want to become healthier, every small healthy choice is a vote for that identity. If you want to become more confident, every small act of courage rewires your self-belief. The mistake most people make is waiting for big breakthroughs, but real change is the result of small, consistent steps practiced daily. A small habit may feel invisible today, but one day you will look back and realize it was the foundation of your transformation, the hidden key that unlocked a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. Motivation is powerful, but it is fleeting. One day you feel unstoppable, ready to conquer the world, and the next day you can barely get out of bed. Relying solely on motivation is like relying on the weather. It changes constantly and is out of your control. Consistency, on the other hand, is the force that carries you forward even when motivation fades. It is showing up when you don't feel like it, doing the work even when the spark isn't there, and honoring your commitment long after the excitement has worn off. That is where real strength lies, because consistency builds habits, and habits build character. Think about the person who decides to get fit. Motivation may get them to the gym for a week, but consistency is what keeps them coming back month after month until results become visible. Think about the writer who dreams of publishing a book. Motivation may spark the idea, but consistency is what gets them to write a few pages every day until the manuscript is complete. Success isn't about bursts of energy, it's about steady progress repeated over time. Consistency also rewires the brain. Every repeated action strengthens neural pathways, making the behavior easier and more natural. Over time, what once felt like effort becomes automatic. The reward is not just in the outcome, but in the identity shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who does. Motivation may light the fire, but consistency keeps it burning, even through storms, setbacks, and silence. The greatest achievements in life are not created in moments of passion, but in the quiet, disciplined repetition of consistent effort, because consistency turns temporary effort into permanent transformation. Gratitude is more than simply saying thank you. It is a practice that changes the way your mind perceives the world. When you intentionally focus on what you already have instead of what you lack, you shift your brain from a state of scarcity to a state of abundance. Neuroscience shows that gratitude activates regions of the brain linked to happiness, contentment, and emotional well-being, creating new neural pathways that strengthen positive thinking. Over time, this rewiring helps you naturally notice opportunities, blessings, and solutions rather than problems, obstacles, and shortcomings. Many people spend their lives chasing after what's next, believing happiness will come only when they achieve a certain goal, earn more money, or gain approval. But when you practice gratitude daily, you discover that abundance is not something far away. It is already present in your life. The smile of a loved one, the warmth of sunlight, the chance to start over each morning, these moments often go unnoticed until you train your mind to see them. Gratitude acts as a lens, helping you recognize richness in areas where you once saw emptiness. This shift doesn't just make you feel better emotionally, it transforms how you act. A grateful mind is less reactive, less stressed, and more resilient in the face of challenges. It opens the door to generosity because when you feel abundant, you naturally want to share that abundance. Gratitude reduces comparison, silences envy, and builds inner peace. The more you practice it, the more it compounds, creating a cycle where positivity attracts more positivity. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances instantly, but it changes the way you experience them, and that perspective is the foundation of a truly abundant life. In a world filled with constant notifications, endless entertainment, and countless demands for attention, distraction has become the biggest thief of progress. It pulls you away from your goals, scatters your energy, and leaves you wondering where your time has gone. Discipline, however, is the weapon that cuts through distraction and keeps you aligned with what truly matters. Discipline is not about restriction, it is about freedom. The freedom to choose long-term growth over short-term pleasure, the freedom to stay true to your purpose when everything else is trying to pull you off track. Every distraction promises comfort, but it steals momentum. Every act of discipline feels demanding in the moment, but it builds strength and direction. The person who succeeds is rarely the most talented or the most motivated. It is the one who has mastered the art of self-control. The one who says no to temptation so they can say yes to progress. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement, between dreaming and doing. It transforms lofty goals into daily action, and daily action into lasting results. When you practice discipline, you train your brain to focus deeply, to resist the noise, and to stay committed to the task at hand. Over time, this creates mental resilience, making it easier to withstand challenges and setbacks without losing your way. Distraction weakens the mind, but discipline sharpens it, giving you clarity, strength, and direction. Every choice you make is either strengthening your focus or feeding your distractions. When you choose discipline consistently, you prove to yourself that you are in control, not your impulses, not your environment, not your doubts. Discipline beats distraction every time because it transforms scattered effort into unstoppable momentum. The way you begin your day has the power to shape everything that follows. Morning rituals are not just routines, They are signals to your mind and body about how you intend to show up in the world. When you start your day with intention instead of chaos, you take control of your energy, your focus, and your emotions before the world has a chance to pull you in 100 different directions. A rushed morning filled with stress and distraction sets the tone for overwhelm, but a calm and purposeful morning ritual sets the tone for clarity and success. Simple actions can make a profound difference. Waking up early to breathe in silence, writing down your goals, exercising to activate your body, or practicing gratitude to activate your mindset. These rituals prime you for peak performance. They give you a head start before external demands arrive, grounding you in what matters most. Success is rarely about dramatic breakthroughs. It is often about consistent preparation, and a strong morning routine is preparation in its purest form. Morning rituals also build momentum. By completing intentional actions early, you start your day with a sense of accomplishment that fuels motivation for the tasks ahead. They act as anchors, reminding you of your priorities even when the day becomes unpredictable. When practiced consistently, these rituals turn into habits that rewire your mind for focus, discipline, and positivity. The truth is, you cannot control every challenge that comes your way during the day, but you can control how you start it. By protecting your mornings with rituals that energize and empower you, you create the foundation for productivity, resilience, and growth. Morning rituals set the tone for success because they align your mind, body, and spirit before the world demands your attention. Every thought you allow into your mind plants a seed, and those seeds eventually grow into the reality you experience. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, they color the way you see the world, influencing the decisions you make and the opportunities you overlook. On the other hand, when your thoughts are filled with confidence, hope, and possibility, you naturally open yourself to growth, solutions, and progress. The mind acts like a filter, projecting your inner beliefs onto your outer life, which is why choosing your thoughts wisely is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward transformation. Consider how two people can face the same situation but experience completely different outcomes. One sees a challenge as a wall they cannot climb, while the other sees it as a chance to grow stronger. The circumstances are the same, but the thoughts are different, and those thoughts determine the direction of their lives. When you choose thoughts that empower you, you begin to attract actions, people, and opportunities that align with that mindset. This is not about ignoring reality, but about choosing the perspective that gives you strength instead of weakness. Training your thoughts requires awareness and practice. Negative patterns often run on autopilot, but with mindfulness, affirmations, and deliberate focus, you can redirect them. Over time, your brain rewires itself to favor positivity and resilience, making empowering thoughts your default state. Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny, and every choice begins first in the mind. The quality of your thoughts directly shapes the quality of your life, so guard them carefully, nurture them intentionally, and remember that the world you live in begins with the world you build inside your own mind. Perfection is an illusion that keeps many people trapped in hesitation and fear, waiting for the right moment, the perfect plan, or flawless execution before they begin. But the truth is, nothing will ever be perfect, and waiting for perfection often means never starting at all. Progress, on the other hand, is real, measurable, and powerful. Every small step forward, no matter how imperfect, moves you closer to your goals and teaches you lessons that standing still never could. Progress matters more than perfection because growth happens in motion, not in waiting. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't wait until they have the perfect balance to take their first step. They wobble, fall, and try again. Each imperfect attempt builds strength, coordination, and confidence. Life works the same way. When you allow yourself to take action without demanding perfection, you create momentum, and momentum compounds into breakthroughs. Progress brings clarity, showing you what works and what doesn't, while perfection only fuels self-doubt and delays action. The pursuit of perfection often hides a fear of failure, but progress embraces failure as a teacher. Every mistake is feedback, and every setback is part of the process. Progress doesn't demand flawless effort, it only demands consistency and the courage to keep going. Success stories are built on thousands of imperfect steps, not a single perfect one. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you give yourself permission to grow, to evolve, and to keep moving forward no matter how messy the journey may seem. Perfection may feel like a finish line you can never reach, but progress is proof that you are on the path, and that path is where true transformation happens. Reading is one of the simplest yet most powerful habits you can build, because every page you turn opens a door to new perspectives, knowledge, and inspiration. When you read daily, you expose your mind to ideas you may never encounter in your immediate surroundings, and those ideas expand your sense of what is possible. Books carry the wisdom of centuries, the experiences of others, and the strategies for overcoming challenges you may not even know how to face yet. Each word you consume becomes fuel for your imagination and food for your growth. Unlike passive entertainment, reading engages your mind actively. It sparks curiosity, strengthens focus, and trains your brain to think critically and creatively. The more you read, the more connections your mind builds, allowing you to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. A single concept from a book can ignite a breakthrough, shift your perspective, or inspire an action that changes the course of your life. By feeding your mind daily, you keep it sharp, resilient, and hungry for progress. Daily reading also instills discipline and consistency. Even 10 minutes a day compounds over time, turning into countless books, endless ideas, and a transformed mindset. It's not about the number of pages, but about the habit of continuous learning. Reading reminds you that growth never stops and that no matter where you are, you can always go further. It helps silence self-limiting beliefs, because when you read about those who achieved greatness despite challenges, you begin to see that you, too, can rise above your circumstances. Reading daily feeds your mind with possibility, and when your mind is filled with possibility, your life begins to reflect that limitless potential. Where you place your attention determines where your energy flows, and where your energy flows determines the results you create. Most people scatter their focus across countless distractions, draining their energy on things that don't truly matter, and then wonder why they feel exhausted yet unfulfilled. The truth is that your energy is not limitless, but when directed with clear intention, it becomes a powerful force for progress and transformation. Energy follows focus, which means that by choosing what you concentrate on, you are also choosing the direction of your life. Think of a magnifying glass. When sunlight is scattered, it warms but doesn't ignite. Yet, when that same light is focused through the lens, it creates fire. Your mind works the same way. Scattered focus dilutes your energy, but concentrated focus ignites breakthroughs. When you direct your attention to meaningful goals, consistent growth, and purposeful actions, you naturally channel your energy into building momentum instead of wasting it on noise. Living with intention means being deliberate about what deserves your focus and what doesn't. It means saying no to distractions that steal your power and yes to the priorities that align with your vision. Each time you choose focus over chaos, you conserve energy that can be invested in building, creating, and becoming. Over time, this intentional direction of focus and energy rewires your brain for clarity, productivity, and resilience. The most successful people are not those who do everything, but those who focus their energy on the few things that truly matter. When you master the art of directing your focus, you gain control over your energy, your actions, and ultimately your destiny, because energy always follows focus, and what you focus on expands. Every great achievement begins in the mind before it becomes reality. Visualization is the practice of seeing your dreams as if they already exist, painting them vividly in your imagination until they feel real. When you visualize consistently, you create a mental blueprint that guides your actions, decisions, and behaviors toward making those dreams tangible. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced, which means that visualization primes your mind and body to move in alignment with your goals. Athletes use visualization to prepare for competition, rehearsing every movement in their minds until their bodies naturally follow through. Entrepreneurs visualize successful outcomes to build confidence and clarity in decision-making. Even in everyday life, when you picture yourself overcoming challenges, staying calm, or stepping into opportunities, you give yourself a mental map to follow. Visualization doesn't replace action, but it fuels it, making each step forward feel more natural and inevitable. When you see your dreams with clarity, they stop being vague wishes and start becoming structured possibilities. The more detail you add, the sights, sounds, and emotions, the stronger the blueprint becomes. Your subconscious begins to align your habits, your focus, and your confidence with the vision you have created. Doubt and hesitation lose power because your mind is already rehearsing success. Without vision, action feels aimless. With visualization, action becomes purposeful, directed, and consistent. Dreams remain abstract until you give them form in your imagination, and visualization is the tool that transforms them into a plan your mind can follow. By practicing it daily, you create a powerful inner roadmap that shapes your reality, because the future you desire must first be built in your mind before it can exist in your hands. Movement is life, and the way you move your body directly affects the way your mind functions. When you engage in physical activity, whether it's a walk, a workout, or simply stretching, you activate systems in your body that release energy, sharpen focus, and elevate your mood. Movement increases blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients to your brain, which enhances clarity and cognitive performance. It's not just about building strength or fitness, it's about creating a state where your body and mind work together at their best. When your body is in motion, your mind naturally becomes more alert, creative, and resilient. In moments of stress, stagnation, or overwhelm, staying still often makes the problem feel heavier. But when you move, even in small ways, you break that cycle and shift your state. A short walk can clear mental fog. A few minutes of exercise can release endorphins that elevate your mood, and intentional movement like yoga or stretching can calm your nervous system and bring balance. Movement creates momentum, and momentum is the antidote to feeling stuck. Daily movement also strengthens discipline. Choosing to move when it's easier to stay still reinforces your ability to take action even when it feels inconvenient. That discipline doesn't just shape your body, it rewires your brain to favor action over procrastination, energy over lethargy, and consistency over excuses. In the long run, these choices build not only physical health, but also mental resilience. Movement connects you with your own power. It reminds you that progress is not only mental but physical, that growth comes from aligning body and mind together. When you move consistently, you carry yourself differently, you think differently, and you feel differently. Energy flows more freely, stress loses its grip, and confidence rises. Movement fuels both body and mind because it is the bridge between your physical strength and your mental clarity, a natural tool that keeps you alive, focused, and unstoppable. By making movement a daily habit, you gift yourself more than health. You gift yourself the energy and mental sharpness needed to create, achieve, and live with purpose. Journaling is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools you can use to bring order to the chaos of your thoughts. Every day your mind processes countless ideas, worries, dreams, and questions, and without a way to sort through them, they often remain tangled, creating confusion and stress. When you put pen to paper, you give those thoughts shape and structure, allowing yourself to see them clearly instead of letting them swirl endlessly in your head. Journaling is like holding up a mirror to your inner world. It reflects your emotions, beliefs, and patterns back to you so you can understand them better. Writing down your thoughts creates space between you and your feelings. Suddenly, fears that felt overwhelming look smaller on paper. Goals that seemed vague become more specific when written out. Solutions that once felt hidden begin to reveal themselves as you explore them in writing. This process is not about creating perfect sentences or polished pages. It's about releasing what's inside so you can process it with clarity and honesty. Journaling turns abstract emotions into concrete words, which makes them easier to face, accept, and transform. Over time, journaling also helps you track your growth. Looking back on old entries shows you how far you've come, what challenges you've overcome, and how your mindset has evolved. It becomes a record of your journey, a personal guide that reminds you of your resilience and progress. Journaling can also strengthen gratitude when you record small wins or moments of joy, training your brain to focus on the positives instead of dwelling only on struggles. The beauty of journaling is its flexibility. You can use it for reflection, for setting goals, for releasing stress, or for simply expressing yourself without judgment. It doesn't demand perfection, only honesty. By making it a daily or even occasional practice, you clear mental clutter, discover hidden insights, and align your actions with your values. Journaling gives clarity to your inner world because it translates your invisible thoughts into visible truths, helping you understand yourself more deeply and guiding you toward a stronger, more focused, and more intentional life. The words you speak to yourself carry enormous power, and affirmations are a tool to harness that power in a deliberate and constructive way. Most people live with an inner dialogue filled with doubt, criticism, and fear, and over time those repeated thoughts shape their self-image and limit what they believe is possible. Affirmations interrupt that cycle by replacing negative self-talk with intentional, empowering statements that build confidence and resilience. When you say affirmations consistently, you train your mind to accept new beliefs about who you are and what you are capable of, and those beliefs influence your actions, habits, and results. Confidence is not something that magically appears. It is built through repetition and reinforcement. Just as doubt grows stronger when you repeat fearful thoughts, confidence grows stronger when you repeat affirming thoughts. Phrases like, "I am capable," "I am worthy," or "I can handle challenges" may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if they clash with old beliefs. But with consistency, they begin to rewire your brain. Neuroscience shows that repeated affirmations create new neural pathways, making empowering beliefs more natural and automatic over time. Affirmations also shape how you respond to challenges. When doubt tells you to give up, affirmations remind you to push forward. When fear tells you that you are not enough, affirmations reinforce that you already have the strength to grow. They do not erase difficulties, but they change your perspective, shifting your focus from limitation to possibility. That mental shift gives you the courage to take action, even when uncertainty is present, and action builds real confidence. Incorporating affirmations into your daily routine can be simple yet transformative. Saying them in the morning sets a positive tone for the day. Writing them in a journal reinforces them on paper, and repeating them during difficult moments anchors you in strength. Over time, affirmations silence the inner critic and amplify the inner coach, reminding you that confidence is not about perfection, but about trust in yourself. Affirmations replace doubt with confidence by changing the story you tell yourself, and that story becomes the foundation for how you live, act, and create your future. In a world that glorifies constant hustle, rest is often misunderstood as laziness or weakness, yet nothing could be further from the truth. Rest is a vital ingredient for growth, productivity, and long-term success. Just as a muscle grows stronger during recovery after exercise, your mind and body also need periods of restoration to perform at their best. Without rest, you burn out, lose clarity, and drain the very energy required to pursue your goals. Rest is not about doing nothing. It is about recharging so you can return with strength, focus, and creativity. When you allow yourself to rest, you give your brain the chance to process information, consolidate learning, and generate new insights. Many breakthroughs and creative ideas don't come when you're grinding endlessly, but when you step back, relax, and give your mind space to breathe. Rest sharpens focus, improves memory, and enhances decision-making, which means it directly contributes to higher performance. Far from slowing you down, rest actually accelerates your growth by ensuring that your energy is sustainable. On a deeper level, rest teaches balance. Life is not meant to be a constant sprint, it's a marathon that requires endurance. Ignoring rest may give temporary gains, but it leads to exhaustion and setbacks in the long run. Choosing to rest is an act of discipline, a recognition that your well-being is your greatest resource. Sleep, meditation, breaks throughout the day, or simply moments of stillness are not indulgences but necessities that fuel resilience. Rest also nurtures your emotional health. When you are tired, stress feels heavier, small problems look bigger, and self-doubt creeps in more easily. But when you are well rested, you meet challenges with patience, optimism, and strength. Rest restores perspective, reminding you that growth is not just about pushing harder, but also about honoring your body's need to recover. True strength is knowing when to act and when to pause, when to push and when to recharge. Rest is not weakness. It's the silent force that powers your growth, the unseen fuel that allows you to rise higher, go further, and stay consistent on the path to success. Curiosity is the spark that keeps your mind from becoming stagnant, the force that drives you to explore, question, and discover. It is the childlike wonder that makes you look at the world with fresh eyes, always eager to learn something new. Without curiosity, life becomes repetitive and dull, but with it, every day offers an opportunity for growth and expansion. Curiosity opens doors to knowledge, experiences, and perspectives that you would otherwise miss, and it ensures that your mind continues to evolve no matter your age or circumstances. When you nurture curiosity, you train your brain to seek out possibilities rather than limitations. Instead of saying, "I know enough," you ask, "What more can I learn?" Instead of assuming, you investigate. This simple shift not only increases your knowledge but also enhances creativity, problem-solving, and resilience. Curious minds are less afraid of failure because they view mistakes as learning opportunities. They thrive in uncertainty because curiosity transforms the unknown from something frightening into something fascinating. Curiosity also connects you with others on a deeper level. When you are genuinely interested in people, their stories, and their perspectives, you expand your understanding of the human experience. It builds empathy and breaks down barriers, reminding you that growth often comes from listening as much as from speaking. By asking questions and remaining open, you invite wisdom into your life that you might never have discovered on your own. On a personal level, curiosity keeps you motivated and engaged. It prevents complacency by fueling a sense of purpose and excitement. Even small acts of curiosity, reading a new book, trying a different skill, or asking, "Why?" one more time, add layers to your mind and shape a more expansive vision of what is possible. The moment you stop being curious is the moment your growth slows down, but when you keep curiosity alive, you ensure that your mind stays vibrant, sharp, and open to endless possibilities. Curiosity keeps your mind alive and expanding because it refuses to let life become ordinary, turning every experience into a chance to grow, discover, and evolve. The human mind has a natural tendency to wander, drifting into the past with regret or racing into the future with worry, and in that constant movement, the present moment is often lost. Mindfulness is the practice of returning to the here and now, of grounding yourself fully in the current experience without judgment or distraction. When you practice mindfulness, you give your mind permission to slow down, to notice the details of life, and to find clarity in the simplicity of being present. It is in this state that stress softens, focus sharpens, and peace becomes possible even in the midst of chaos. Mindfulness anchors you by reminding you that the present moment is the only one you can truly influence. The past cannot be changed, and the future has not yet arrived, but this moment holds the power to shape both. By paying attention to your breath, your thoughts, your emotions, or even the sensations around you, you learn to cultivate awareness rather than reacting automatically. This awareness gives you space between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose actions that align with your values instead of being controlled by habit or impulse. Scientific studies show that mindfulness reduces anxiety, improves emotional regulation, and strengthens concentration. But beyond the science, it offers something deeply human, the ability to truly experience life as it unfolds. Eating mindfully allows you to taste food fully, listening mindfully allows you to connect more deeply with others, and working mindfully allows you to engage with clarity and purpose. Mindfulness also helps you recognize that your thoughts and feelings are not who you are, but passing events in the mind. By observing them without attachment, you free yourself from being controlled by them. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to remain calm under pressure, present in relationships, and resilient in challenges. Mindfulness anchors you in the present moment because it reminds you that life is happening right here, right now, and the greatest strength you can cultivate is the ability to live it fully, one moment at a time. Success is never the product of chance luck or fleeting bursts of motivation. It is built on the foundation of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it, to remain committed to your goals long after the excitement has faded. It is the quiet force that transforms vision into action, habits into results, and dreams into reality. Without self-discipline, even the best plans remain unfulfilled, but with it, even the most difficult challenges can be overcome. At its core, self-discipline is about mastering yourself. It requires the strength to say no to distractions, to resist the temptation of instant gratification, and to prioritize what truly matters over what feels easy in the moment. Every time you exercise self-discipline, you strengthen your ability to focus, to persevere, and to align your actions with your intentions. Over time, these choices compound, shaping not only what you achieve but also who you become. Consider any area of success: athletes training daily, artists refining their craft, entrepreneurs building businesses, or students excelling academically. None of them rely solely on talent or inspiration. They rely on discipline to keep showing up, to keep improving, and to keep pushing through obstacles. Self-discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates momentum, which is the engine of long-term success. Self-discipline also builds confidence, because each time you keep a promise to yourself, you prove that you are reliable and capable. This inner trust strengthens resilience and allows you to face setbacks without losing faith. While motivation may come and go, discipline ensures progress continues regardless of how you feel in the moment. It is a form of self-respect, a declaration that your goals and growth matter enough to sacrifice temporary comfort. Success begins with self-discipline, because discipline is the key that unlocks potential, the bridge between desire and achievement, and the quality that separates those who wish for success from those who create it. The comfort zone feels safe because it is familiar, predictable, and free from risk, but it is also the place where progress slows and potential remains untapped. True growth begins the moment you step beyond what is comfortable and into the unknown. It is in those spaces of uncertainty and challenge that you discover new strengths, build resilience, and unlock abilities you never knew you had. Growth does not come from repeating what you already know. It comes from stretching yourself into situations that require more of you than you have given before. Every meaningful achievement in life demands stepping into discomfort. The athlete who pushes past physical limits, the leader who makes bold decisions, the student who takes on difficult lessons, all of them must embrace a level of uncertainty and effort that feels uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is not a signal to retreat, but a sign that you are expanding. Each time you move beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone, you train your mind and body to adapt, to grow stronger, and to see challenges not as threats but as opportunities. Fear often guards the edges of the comfort zone, whispering reasons to stay safe and avoid risks. Yet once you face those fears, they lose their power. What once felt intimidating becomes familiar, and your comfort zone expands. Over time, this process builds courage and confidence, creating a cycle where each new step into discomfort leads to greater capacity and greater possibility. Living only within your comfort zone may feel easy, but it comes at the cost of stagnation. By contrast, choosing growth through discomfort leads to transformation. It sharpens your skills, strengthens your mindset, and deepens your sense of purpose. Growth lives outside your comfort zone because that is where life challenges you to rise higher, where you are forced to evolve, and where you realize that you are capable of far more than you ever believed. Each step into the unknown is not just a test. It is an invitation to become the best version of yourself. Positivity is often mistaken as something that depends on circumstances, as if one can only feel hopeful and optimistic when everything is going well. The truth is that positivity is not about what happens to you, but about how you choose to interpret and respond to what happens. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and unpredictability, and waiting for perfect conditions to feel positive means you may be waiting forever. Positivity is a conscious decision, a mindset that says no matter what is going on externally, I will choose to see possibilities, to find lessons, and to hold on to hope. When you choose positivity, you take back your power. Circumstances may be out of your control, but your attitude is always within your control. Two people can face the same hardship, and one will crumble while the other rises stronger, not because the situation was different, but because the mindset was different. Positivity doesn't deny reality or ignore pain. It simply refuses to let negativity dominate your perspective. It asks, "What can I do now?" instead of "Why me?" It focuses on solutions instead of problems, growth instead of defeat. Choosing positivity consistently rewires your brain to look for the good even in difficult times. Over time, this mindset builds resilience, strengthens your ability to cope with stress, and keeps you moving forward when others might give up. It also influences the people around you, because positivity is contagious. By embodying hope and optimism, you create an environment where others feel uplifted and inspired, multiplying the impact of your choice. Positivity is a choice you make each day, sometimes each moment. It is deciding to focus on gratitude instead of lack, progress instead of setbacks, and opportunities instead of obstacles. This choice transforms how you think, how you feel, and how you act, creating a ripple effect that shapes your entire life. Positivity is not a product of circumstance. It is a discipline, a decision, and a way of living that empowers you to rise above challenges and build a future rooted in strength and possibility. Setbacks are often seen as failures, moments where progress halts and dreams feel out of reach, but in reality, every setback carries within it a hidden lesson waiting to be uncovered. Life does not hand you obstacles to stop you, it hands them to shape you, to refine your skills, and to test your resilience. The disappointment of a setback can feel heavy, yet beneath that weight lies wisdom that can guide you forward in ways success alone never could. When things don't go as planned, you are forced to pause and reflect. That pause creates space for learning. You begin to see what didn't work, where you might improve, and how you can approach the situation differently next time. Setbacks expose blind spots, highlight weaknesses, and reveal patterns that would remain hidden if everything always went smoothly. They sharpen your problem-solving ability and teach you the value of persistence. Each challenge faced is a lesson in patience, adaptability, and growth. Great achievers are not defined by the absence of setbacks, but by their ability to extract meaning from them. They understand that rejection can redirect them to better opportunities, that failure can clarify what truly matters, and that delays often prepare them for bigger breakthroughs. What feels like a step backward is often a necessary setup for a stronger step forward. The key is to approach setbacks with curiosity rather than defeat. Asking, "What is this teaching me?" turns a painful moment into a powerful one. The lesson may be about developing greater discipline, trusting yourself more, or even realizing that the path you were on was not the right one after all. Every setback leaves you with a choice: to view it as the end of progress or as a stepping stone toward transformation. By choosing the latter, you shift from frustration to growth, from despair to determination. Every setback carries a hidden lesson, because within every challenge lies the potential for wisdom, and those who embrace the lesson not only recover but rise higher, stronger, and more prepared for the journey ahead. The way you speak to yourself in the privacy of your own mind has more power than most people realize. Self-talk is the constant inner dialogue running in your head, the words you whisper silently to yourself about who you are, what you can do, and how you see the world. It can either build you up or tear you down. Positive self-talk becomes a source of encouragement, strength, and resilience, while negative self-talk chips away at confidence, creates self-doubt, and weakens determination. Every thought you repeat to yourself is like a seed planted in your mind, and over time those seeds grow into beliefs that shape your actions and outcomes. When you choose to speak to yourself with kindness, patience, and belief, you cultivate inner strength. Words like, "I can handle this," "I am capable," or "I am learning and improving," fuel your determination and create a foundation of confidence. Even in difficult times, uplifting self-talk reminds you that challenges are temporary and that you have the ability to move through them. On the other hand, when your self-talk is filled with criticism, statements like, "I'll never succeed," "I'm not good enough," or "I always fail," you begin to believe those words, and they drain your energy before you even begin. Your mind listens to everything you tell it, and it responds accordingly. If you constantly speak negatively, your brain starts to look for evidence to support those thoughts, reinforcing the cycle of self-doubt. If you speak positively, your brain shifts its focus toward opportunities, strengths, and solutions, reinforcing a cycle of growth and resilience. That is why self-talk is not just harmless chatter, it is one of the most powerful tools you have for shaping your mindset and your future. Building strong self-talk requires awareness and intentionality. You must first notice the patterns of how you speak to yourself, and then consciously replace unhelpful statements with empowering ones. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It means choosing to frame them in a way that keeps you motivated and focused on possibilities rather than limitations. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," you might say, "I will figure this out step by step." Instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this," you can reframe it as, "I am improving each time I try." Small shifts in language lead to profound changes in belief. Over time, positive self-talk strengthens your inner world, giving you the courage to face setbacks and the perseverance to keep moving forward. It acts like an internal coach, guiding you, encouraging you, and reminding you of your own worth. Self-talk builds or breaks your inner strength, because the voice you listen to most often is your own, and if that voice becomes your greatest supporter, there is little in life that can hold you back. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, few realize the immense power of listening. True listening is more than staying quiet while someone else speaks. It is an intentional act of presence, of giving your full attention without rushing to respond, judge, or interrupt. When you listen deeply, you open yourself to perspectives beyond your own, and with those perspectives comes wisdom. Listening allows you to learn what speaking alone never can, because wisdom often hides in the experiences, stories, and insights of others. When you choose to listen more, you gain access to knowledge that might otherwise be missed. Every person you meet has lived a life filled with lessons, struggles, and victories, and within their words are treasures that can shape your own journey. By listening, you not only gather information but also develop understanding. You begin to see the world through a wider lens, expanding your empathy, patience, and ability to connect. Wisdom rarely comes from talking about what you already know. It comes from absorbing what you don't yet understand. Listening also builds stronger relationships. When people feel heard, they feel valued, and trust naturally grows. In both personal and professional settings, being a good listener sets you apart because it shows respect and humility. Wisdom does not flow to those who believe they already know everything, but to those humble enough to listen. By practicing attentive listening, you gain insights that can guide better decisions, prevent mistakes, and open doors to opportunities you may never have seen on your own. Listening more also helps you listen inwardly. Often, the noise of constant talking or rushing drowns out the quiet voice of intuition. By practicing stillness and openness, you not only hear others better, but also connect more deeply with your own inner guidance. This balance between external listening and internal awareness creates clarity, grounding, and discernment, qualities essential to wisdom. The greatest teachers throughout history were not only powerful speakers, but also attentive listeners. They absorbed knowledge, observed carefully, and reflected deeply before offering their own words. By slowing down and listening, you sharpen your ability to recognize patterns, understand human nature, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. Listening is a discipline, one that requires patience and humility, but its rewards are profound. It transforms conversations into learning experiences, relationships into partnerships, and challenges into lessons. Listening more opens doors to wisdom because every word you truly hear expands your understanding of life, others, and yourself. And those who choose to listen deeply are the ones who grow the most. The environment you surround yourself with holds more influence over your mindset than you may realize. Every detail, from the people you spend time with to the spaces you inhabit and the energy you allow into your life, quietly shapes the way you think, feel, and act. Just as a seed grows differently depending on the soil it's planted in, your mindset develops based on the environment that nourishes or restricts it. This truth makes it essential to be intentional about the environments you choose, because they can either lift you toward growth or pull you into limitation. When you are in an environment filled with positivity, encouragement, and ambition, your mindset naturally aligns with those qualities. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and support your goals fuels confidence and resilience. In contrast, environments filled with negativity, complacency, or constant doubt slowly erode motivation and self-belief. The conversations you hear, the energy you absorb, and the examples you witness all seep into your subconscious and begin shaping your worldview. Your physical environment plays a role as well. A cluttered, chaotic space can lead to mental fog and distraction, while a clean, organized, and uplifting space can inspire clarity and focus. Even the books you read, the content you consume, and the habits you observe in others are part of your environment. Each element sends signals to your brain, reinforcing either growth or stagnation. By choosing wisely, you create conditions where success and positivity become the natural outcome. Being intentional with your environment means asking yourself whether the spaces and people around you align with the person you want to become. If they don't, you have the power to make changes. Whether that means setting boundaries, seeking new influences, or curating your surroundings to better reflect your goals. Even small adjustments, like spending more time in nature, listening to uplifting content, or connecting with inspiring individuals, can shift your mindset in powerful ways. Your environment is not just a backdrop, it is an active force shaping your beliefs, habits, and potential. If you want to think bigger, surround yourself with dreamers and doers. If you want to cultivate peace, create a space that feels calm and supportive. If you want to grow stronger, place yourself in environments that challenge and stretch you. Your environment shapes your mindset because it constantly feeds your thoughts and behaviors, and when you choose it well, you set yourself up to rise above limitations and live with intention. Generosity is more than the act of giving. It is a way of thinking that transforms how you view the world and yourself. When you choose to be generous, whether with your time, your energy, your resources, or your kindness, you shift your focus away from scarcity and toward abundance. Scarcity whispers that there is never enough, that if you give, you will have less. But generosity proves the opposite. It reminds you that value multiplies when shared, and that the more you give, the more you feel connected, fulfilled, and open to receiving in return. Generosity creates a mindset of abundance because it trains your brain to see possibility instead of limitation. Each time you give freely, you affirm that there is enough to go around, that you are not diminished by sharing, but enriched by it. Whether it's offering encouragement to someone who needs it, sharing knowledge that can help others grow, or giving without expecting anything in return, these acts reinforce the belief that life is full of opportunities to contribute and create meaning. This perspective doesn't just benefit others, it strengthens your own sense of purpose and expands your vision of what is possible. At the core, generosity rewires how you define success. Instead of measuring life only by what you accumulate, you begin to see it through the impact you create. Success becomes about contribution, connection, and legacy. That shift naturally builds confidence because you realize you always have something valuable to offer, no matter your circumstances. Even the smallest acts of generosity, like a smile, a listening ear, or a thoughtful gesture, remind you that abundance is not about wealth but about mindset. Generosity also fosters gratitude, which fuels abundance even further. When you give, you become more aware of the blessings you already have. You stop focusing on what is missing and start appreciating the overflow within your life. This gratitude opens doors to greater joy, deeper relationships, and a stronger belief in life's endless possibilities. In return, generosity attracts generosity, creating a cycle where kindness, support, and abundance flow freely. When you live with a generous spirit, challenges feel less daunting because you know you are part of something bigger than yourself. Instead of fearing loss, you trust that giving creates space for growth, connection, and opportunity. Generosity creates a mindset of abundance because it breaks the chains of scarcity, reminding you that true wealth is not measured by how much you hold on to, but by how much you are willing to share and how deeply you allow your contributions to touch the lives of others. Fear has a way of paralyzing the mind, whispering endless what-ifs that keep you trapped in hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder those doubts become, until even the smallest step feels impossible. Fear feeds on inaction, growing stronger with every moment of delay. The only true antidote is action. When you move forward despite the uncertainty, you weaken fear's grip, proving to yourself that the imagined disaster in your mind rarely matches reality. Action cures fear faster than waiting because it interrupts the cycle of overthinking and replaces worry with momentum. Fear often thrives in the imagination. The mind can exaggerate possibilities, making obstacles look insurmountable and risks seem catastrophic. Waiting only gives those thoughts more time to expand, fueling anxiety and self-doubt. Action, on the other hand, cuts through the noise. The moment you begin doing something, taking that first step, making that call, starting that project, you shift your focus from endless speculation to tangible progress. Action grounds you in reality, showing you that most fears are illusions that crumble once confronted. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you train yourself to handle discomfort and uncertainty. This practice builds resilience and self-trust. You begin to see yourself as someone capable of facing challenges rather than avoiding them. Each step forward creates evidence that you can handle more than you thought, and that evidence builds confidence far more effectively than waiting ever could. Action also provides clarity. When you move, you gather feedback. You see what works and what doesn't. You learn, adjust, and grow. Fear wants you stuck in indecision, but action gives you answers. Even if you stumble, you discover valuable lessons that guide your next move. Waiting cannot provide that. It only multiplies the questions circling in your mind. Think about the times you faced something intimidating. Perhaps it was speaking in public, starting a new job, or making a difficult choice. The anticipation beforehand was often worse than the event itself. Once you took action, the fear began to dissolve, replaced by focus, adrenaline, or even excitement. This is the pattern of growth: fear before the leap, confidence after the landing. The truth is, waiting for fear to disappear before acting is a trap. Fear doesn't vanish on its own. It only fades once you prove through action that you can move through it. The more you wait, the more power fear holds over you. The more you act, the smaller it becomes. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates freedom. Action cures fear faster than waiting because fear loses its strength in the face of movement. It is the act of doing, not delaying, that builds courage, rewires your mindset, and reminds you that progress is always possible. Every step you take weakens fear's control and strengthens your belief in yourself, and with each action you replace doubt with proof and hesitation with growth. Every great achievement begins not with action, but with belief. Belief is the invisible force that shapes vision, fuels persistence, and transforms possibility into reality. Before any invention was created, any record was broken, or any dream was fulfilled, someone first believed it was possible. Without belief, effort has no foundation, and goals remain distant wishes. Belief is the seed of every achievement because it plants the conviction in your heart and mind that what you desire can be attained, and that conviction drives everything that follows. Belief influences how you see yourself and the world around you. If you believe in your potential, you approach challenges with determination and creativity. If you believe you are destined to fail, you give up before you even begin. Belief does not guarantee that the path will be easy, but it ensures that you will stay the course when difficulties arise. It gives you the strength to endure setbacks and the vision to see beyond obstacles. Every step toward achievement is powered by the inner voice that says, "I can and I will." A belief also shapes action. The way you think determines the way you act, and the way you act determines your results. Someone who believes in their ability to succeed will take risks, seize opportunities, and keep moving forward even when progress is slow. Someone who lacks belief hesitates, doubts, and misses the very chances that could change their life. This is why two people with the same skills and resources can produce entirely different outcomes. The difference lies in what they believe is possible for themselves. History is filled with examples of belief fueling extraordinary achievements. The Wright brothers believed humans could fly when the world mocked the idea. Innovators believed technology could connect people across the globe before such tools even existed. Leaders believed in freedom, equality, or progress when others doubted it was achievable. Their achievements were not the product of certainty, but of belief strong enough to keep going despite resistance, failure, or ridicule. Belief also has a way of spreading beyond yourself. When you believe deeply in a vision, others are drawn to it. Your conviction inspires trust, and your determination invites collaboration. Teams, movements, and communities have been built on the foundation of shared belief, creating achievements far greater than any individual could accomplish alone. But belief is not passive. It is not simply wishing for something to happen. Real belief demands action. It compels you to align your behavior with your vision. Belief makes you invest time, energy, and effort into your goals because you know they are worth pursuing. It transforms fear into fuel, turning uncertainty into courage. It acts like a compass, guiding you back to your purpose whenever you feel lost. Belief is the seed of every achievement because it is where all growth begins. Just as a seed contains the potential of a tree, belief contains the potential of your future. Nurtured with persistence, discipline, and action, it grows into something tangible, something real. Without belief, nothing starts. With belief, anything is possible. It is the spark that ignites dreams, the root that anchors determination, and the foundation upon which every success is built. Experience alone does not guarantee growth. Life gives everyone experiences, moments of success, failure, joy, and hardship, but what determines whether those experiences shape you or pass by unnoticed is reflection. Reflection is the act of pausing, looking back, and asking what can be learned from what has already happened. It transforms raw events into lessons, turning mistakes into stepping stones and victories into guides for future success. Without reflection, experience is fleeting. With reflection, it becomes wisdom that lasts a lifetime. Reflection allows you to slow down and step outside the rush of daily life. In the business of constant action, it is easy to move from one moment to the next without considering what those moments mean. Reflection creates space to examine your choices, your reactions, and your outcomes with honesty. It invites you to ask questions such as, what went well? What could I have done differently? What did this teach me about myself and about life? In asking these questions, you begin to uncover patterns and insights that would otherwise remain hidden. Mistakes are some of the greatest teachers, but only if you take the time to reflect on them. Failure without reflection can breed discouragement, but failure with reflection builds resilience and clarity. Each setback holds a lesson about what doesn't work, what skills need improvement, or what strategies should change. By reflecting, you avoid repeating the same mistakes and instead use them as fuel for growth. In the same way, reflection on success helps you identify what actions, attitudes, or decisions contributed to a positive outcome, allowing you to replicate and expand on those strengths. Reflection also deepens self-awareness. It shines a light on your values, your habits, and your mindset. It helps you understand why you made certain choices and how those choices align or conflict with the person you want to become. This awareness gives you the power to make more intentional decisions in the future rather than being driven by impulse or circumstance. Over time, regular reflection builds a sense of inner clarity and direction, guiding you through both challenges and opportunities with wisdom instead of guesswork. History shows that some of the wisest individuals were not those who lived the longest or experienced the most, but those who consistently reflected on their lives. Leaders, philosophers, and innovators often kept journals, engaged in deep thinking, or sought solitude to process their experiences. They understood that reflection was not a luxury, but a necessity for turning knowledge into insight and action into wisdom. Reflection is also a form of gratitude. By looking back, you not only analyze what happened, but also appreciate the journey, recognizing how far you've come and how much you've grown. That gratitude fuels positivity and resilience, making it easier to face the future with confidence. Reflection turns experience into wisdom because it bridges the gap between living and learning. It transforms each moment into a teacher, ensuring that nothing is wasted. Not the pain, not the struggle, not the success. It is through reflection that life stops being a series of random events and becomes a source of intentional growth, guiding you to live with greater purpose and understanding. Confidence is not something you are simply born with. It is something built over time, brick by brick, through consistent effort and achievement. The most powerful way to grow lasting confidence is not through one grand success, but through the accumulation of repeated small wins. Each small victory, no matter how minor it may seem, becomes proof to yourself that you are capable, that you can follow through, and that progress is within your control. Over time, these wins compound, creating a solid foundation of self-belief that no setback can easily shake. Small wins matter because they are achievable. Setting enormous goals without breaking them down often leads to overwhelm and discouragement, but small goals create momentum. When you accomplish something tangible, finishing a workout, completing a project, keeping a promise to yourself, You reinforce the belief that you can succeed. Each win is a message to your mind that says, "I did it." And that message builds confidence far more effectively than waiting for one big breakthrough. Confidence thrives on evidence. Your mind needs proof of your ability to grow, and repeated small wins provide exactly that. Each time you step outside your comfort zone and succeed, even in the smallest way, you rewire your brain to see yourself as capable. You begin to shift from self-doubt to self-trust, from hesitation to courage. What once felt intimidating becomes manageable because you have built a track record of handling challenges and achieving results. These wins also create momentum, and momentum is one of the greatest confidence builders. Just as success breeds more success, confidence breeds more confidence. When you string together small victories, you create a rhythm of progress that fuels motivation and reduces fear of failure. Even if setbacks occur, the strength built through those repeated wins helps you bounce back quicker, because you already have proof of your resilience. Confidence built this way is authentic and sustainable. It does not rely on external validation or temporary boosts of motivation, but on the deep inner knowing that you are capable of following through. This is why many successful people emphasize discipline and consistency over perfection. It is not about doing everything at once. It is about doing something each day that moves you forward, however small. Over time, those efforts compound into both achievement and confidence. The beauty of small wins is that they are within everyone's reach. You do not need extraordinary talent, resources, or circumstances to begin building confidence. You only need the willingness to take one step, to do one task, to push one boundary. As you repeat this process, your confidence grows naturally, not because you have eliminated fear or doubt, but because you have built undeniable proof that you can succeed despite them. Confidence grows through repeated small wins because it is not created by chance. It is created by consistent action. Every small step forward is a victory that strengthens belief in yourself, and over time, those small wins add up to unstoppable confidence that empowers you to take on even the biggest challenges in life. The mind is the control center of your life, shaping the way you think, feel, and act. Every belief, habit, and pattern you hold influences the quality of your choices and the direction of your future. If your mind is filled with limiting beliefs, constant doubts, and negative patterns, your life reflects those limitations. But when you rewire your mind, when you intentionally replace old thought patterns with empowering ones, you begin to redesign the very structure of your life. A rewired mind creates a redesigned life because transformation always begins from within before it manifests outwardly. Rewiring the mind starts with awareness. Many of the thoughts you think daily are automatic, shaped by past experiences, societal conditioning, or fear. These patterns run silently in the background, guiding your decisions without you even realizing it. If those patterns are negative, they keep you stuck in cycles of self-sabotage or limitation. By becoming conscious of these thoughts, you gain the power to question them and choose new ones that align with your goals. Awareness is the first step toward change because you cannot redesign what you cannot see. Once you begin to challenge old beliefs, you open the door to new possibilities. Thoughts like, "I'm not capable," can be replaced with, "I am learning and growing." Habits of procrastination can be rewired into habits of consistent action. The more you repeat new empowering patterns, the stronger they become, eventually forming new neural pathways in your brain. Science shows that the brain is malleable, able to change and adapt throughout life, a concept known as neuroplasticity. This means you are never stuck with the mindset you have. You always have the power to rewire it. A rewired mind doesn't just change how you think, it changes how you live. When you begin to believe in your potential, you take bolder actions. When you cultivate gratitude, your perspective shifts from lack to abundance. When you practice discipline, your consistency creates momentum. Each of these mental shifts leads to external results: stronger relationships, better health, greater success, and deeper fulfillment. Your outer world reflects your inner world, and by redesigning the inner, the outer naturally follows. Rewiring the mind also changes how you respond to challenges. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, you begin to see them as lessons. Instead of letting fear stop you, you learn to take action in spite of it. This resilience and adaptability become cornerstones of a redesigned life, one where you are no longer controlled by circumstance, but guided by intention. The process is not instant, but it is powerful. Small, consistent shifts in mindset create lasting transformations in life. Every time you choose a new thought, every time you practice a new habit, every time you redirect your focus toward growth, you are rewiring your mind. Over time, those shifts compound into a new identity, one that aligns with the life you desire to create. A rewired mind creates a redesigned life because your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. When you change the blueprint in your mind, you change the structure of your reality. Transformation begins with thought, flows into action, and ultimately reshapes every area of your existence. Every principle, every shift, and every habit points to one undeniable truth. Lasting transformation begins within. The mind is both the battlefield and the birthplace of success, and by choosing to rewire it with discipline, focus, gratitude, positivity, and resilience, you open the door to a completely redesigned life. Growth is not a matter of luck or circumstance, but of daily choices, repeated actions, and intentional thought patterns. Setbacks become lessons, challenges become opportunities, and small wins become stepping stones toward unshakable confidence. The more you align your inner world with your highest vision, the more your outer world reshapes itself to match. True change does not happen overnight, but every moment of awareness and every act of self-leadership brings you closer to the life you are meant to create. A rewired mind is the foundation, and with it you hold the power to design a future filled with abundance, purpose, and possibility.